Hey, what's up, guys? It's John Shea from the No Shame Income blog. Wanted to take a few minutes today to walk you through the Zippy Courses WordPress plugin for creating your own course. Now, I've been very familiar with using WordPress plugins to build your own membership site. Years ago, I used a plugin called WP Wishlist Member, and that plugin was really great, had a lot of great features, pretty much did exactly what I needed to. But I just think within this sort of day and age, there's definitely been some things going on with a lot of these bigger course platforms that are starting to get really competitive in terms of features. And Zippy Courses was created by Derek Halpern over on the Social Triggers blog. I've been following Derek over there for now probably over 4 years. So it was kind of interesting. I don't know particularly why he decided to dive into this niche. I know he does a lot of his own courses, so I imagine it was probably just for his own personal need, and he figured he could create something. Even though I feel like this space is just very competitive right now, I know he's got quite the audience, so he probably was really able to kind of get this going and make a lot of sales due to the fact that he's got, he's been doing a lot of courses himself, and his audience is probably interested in that sort of thing. I wanted to walk you through, kind of go in a little more in depth. I know if you go on like the actual Zippy Courses webpage, he basically mostly blows through everything really fast to show you how cool and awesome it is. I thought I'd take a little bit more time to kind of walk through it. I'm basically building a course with this platform. I decided to use it. One of the first things that you're going to notice right off the bat is if you're comparing this to, say, like Udemy or use Fedora or SkillFeed, you're going to have to pay a premium price right out of the gate just to start using the plugin. You essentially get it for life, but you're going to pay a lot more money to get started. So just using the very basic Zippy Courses plugin, you're going to pay $200. You're not even going to pay that to get started with the professional version of Use Fedora, for example. You'd only pay $100 for the first month, $200 for the second month, and there's a good possibility, I think with them, you even get a 30-day trial. So you could almost be, get in that first month, build your course in the first month if you already have your ideas together, have it ready to go, and be making sales, easily within 3 months, I'd imagine, and pay the same price, and you'd already have some more advantages over Zippy Courses when it comes to, say, like video hosting, which Zippy Courses does not provide. You'd have to get your own video hosting. So beyond that, I did want to kind of talk about some of the things you do when you come in. You basically get this getting started with Zippy Courses. They have you under your license key. You configure payment settings, which I'll show you here in a second. They basically, have you create your own first course. You create a lesson, and then you start creating your pricing structures, and then they, you don't actually do anything, but they're saying, yeah, from there, make your first sale. License key, pretty self-explanatory. If you go into payment settings, they do offer some benefits here. You can go in and use all these different platforms like PayPal, Stripe, Infusionsoft, Entreport, Office Autopilot, AuthorizeNet, ClickBank, and One Shopping Cart. Now, I'm pretty familiar with PayPal. Pretty much everybody is. And Stripe, I am familiar with. But a lot of these others, I don't really use them. AuthorizeNet, I think you might even have to pay money to get into them. Probably the most common, most people are just going to use PayPal. That's just pretty much the bottom line. Almost everybody uses PayPal. It's pretty standard. And the biggest thing that I noticed with this immediately off the bat, it's definitely a huge downfall for me, is if you use platforms like Use Fedora or Udemy, you can actually set up split payments. So if I have someone else that's co-launching this course with me, which this particular course I do, I can actually automatically have payments split for the course between us. Now, in this particular case, my partner is actually going to do all the payouts manually, and he's not worried about it, but I think that's extra manual work. That's a pain in the ass. I personally, if it was me that was responsible for that, I don't want to have to be going into my PayPal account at the end of the month and figuring out how much money I owe to my partner because all the payments for the course are coming to me. So that's honestly been my absolute biggest downfall with Zippy Courses. The other thing is you could use a platform like JVZoo, which allows you to also set up split payments. But the problem is that when it comes to JVZoo, you're going to find that you could set up JVZoo to like send you over to a landing page here, and I could set up free registration. But then if I get some guys over on the Black Hat forum who decide to go share my registration page, now I've basically allowed open game to anyone to just come into my course. It's really just not ideal for what I'm looking for. So that's kind of my biggest con with Zippy Courses. Otherwise, I kind of want to show you some of the things I do like about Zippy Courses. It's pretty easy to configure all the tabs and stuff. If you go through, you can easily jump through and find all the different things you're going to need. Here you can set up different styles that may work with the included theme. They give you a WordPress theme that's built in. I don't really know if I want to call that a con, but if you're trying to use, like, let's say I have my own blog already and I want to launch my course within that blog, you're not going to be able to do it. Or if you do it, I don't know what the formatting is going to look like. It might look like total shit. I actually haven't tried it. So what I basically ended up doing was this particular course, we're calling it the Blog Artist Bootcamp, and we actually have it on its own domain. So I'm not using an existing blog to launch this. It's its whole own property. The kind of odd thing though is that Zippy Courses does allow you to create multiple courses inside of this domain, but I probably would never even use that capability because I've already branded it around this particular course. I wouldn't go make an SEO course on my Blog Artist Bootcamp course because this course is about blogging. So I'd probably have to go set up a whole other domain and then set up Zippy Courses from scratch on another domain. In terms of emails, they do integrate with a lot of email providers, and you can set up all these different things for getting emailed when people join the course, things like that. Pretty basic stuff. Most platforms offer that. Let me go to the email list tab and I'll show you that. Giving this a second to load here. It's taking its sweet time. You pretty much have integration with all the major platforms: Aweber, MailChimp, ActiveCampaign, GetResponse. I mean, these are all pretty popular. Most people probably are using something like an Aweber, GetResponse, or MailChimp are probably some of the most common and cheaper platforms out there. So that's going to be a pretty easy way to get going with that. They do allow you to track your students that have joined. This course is in progress, so I haven't started doing that, but you could easily see your students. And then they do have an analytics, so you can see when people have joined. I think I had a test user join, so you can kind of see how many people per day, how many orders per student, and the value per every order. So the analytics isn't really super in depth. I mean, it's nowhere in comparison to say what Udemy provides to you. You can also do quizzes, which is now kind of pretty general, I'd say, for a lot of these platforms. A lot of them are offering this. I know they're offering this in a lot of different platforms like Udemy, and the Use Fedora has this, so nothing really too special there. You can also offer bundles, so maybe if you do decide maybe you've got some domain that you can make multiple courses with, maybe you set up a photography website and then you just make a bunch of courses on photography, you could bundle those courses and then sell them together as a package. Next, I kind of wanted to show you how to basically edit and set up the course. So if I do edit, I've actually pretty much built my entire course. They kind of just give you these 3 tabs. Most of the courses are going to be off of this course URL. So mine is blogartistbootcamp.com/course/blogartistbootcamp. And essentially I've edited my main welcome page. And then from there, I've gone in and basically managed what they call units and lessons. So you've basically got a unit. So I made my first unit week 1, and then I've got all the lessons below that. So I go through all these different topics, and it's very easy to drag and drop. So yeah, as you go through, you're going to see all the different weeks. Basically you've got, this is how I just happen to format this. You've got all these different little buttons here. You can view the specific lesson. You can edit this lesson. You can set up scheduling, which honestly was slightly confusing to me. I actually wanted to make it so that my students come in and then see this entire first week, and then 7 days will go by, and then they'll then see the second week. I could probably email support on it, but they've got these different scheduling types, so that's essentially what I was looking for. I've got this drip scheduling type. and the course begins when a student joins, and then at that point I could set up how they're going to be able to see it. So this was actually displaying really screwed up in Firefox. I saw a bunch of little dots here, so that's like a glitch. But you can make it so the content's available certain days. I don't know why you would really want to do that. That's a little odd, I thought. And essentially here I said 0 days after they join the course, and then as I go down, if I do scheduling here, I said 7 days, and then I do that the same. Yep, I didn't want to change that. And then if I go down here, I actually think this probably needs to be 14 days, but I'll have to play around with this. That's essentially, I think, the way that it's going to work, but I'll have to play around with it. Otherwise, you can add the quiz here, and then you can add some like access restrictions. So you can set up these tiers up here at the right. You can say new tier. So maybe if I wanted like my 4th week to like be for people who paid an extra $100, I could set up a tier and call it like, you know, $100 bonus or something, and then I could make it so that's all locked. Using this lock thing, I could check the box, and only those people would get access to that. So that's pretty straightforward, really cool feature. I guess I'll show you guys what it really looks like, what the actual course looks like. Now, keep in mind, there are 2 themes that you can get with Zippy Courses. I'm actually going to show you. This is the home page where you buy the platform, the landing page. If you go over to, it's a little, I don't know why he did this too, but if you go all the way to the bottom of the first page, he pretty much only promotes like his basic Zippy Courses for $200, and then you can add that to cart. But he's actually got 2 different versions. If you go to pricing at the top here, there's 2 different versions. I don't know why it's not on the home page. It's the second one, but this other version here, you can get this deluxe package, and he includes a few bonuses. Honestly, they're very, very brief, like these tools. I looked at that PDF, and it was almost like very common knowledge. I didn't see it being all that great. The reason I got the deluxe package though is because the premium design, I really wanted that premium design. If you look back on the home page, he has a little kind of screenshot of it. Let me go all the way down. You can see it's kind of, might be hard for you guys to see, but it's very like white and bland. And then if you look at the premium one in comparison, just the text and the red and kind of the outline of everything, I really liked how that was sort of put together and how that looked in comparison to this sort of stale white. So that's why I wanted the premium one. The other reason was, I believe it said there's a built-in landing page template, and that was kind of intriguing me. I am using a tool called Thrive Themes, but I wanted to see what Derek had to offer with this built-in landing page template. So let me show you what that is. This is essentially the home page of the Blog Artist Bootcamp. I'm going to upload a custom logo here at the top later on, but this is kind of like my welcome page, welcome. And then here at the bottom, they get their lessons. They can click the plus sign, and then they can go through and go through each week. And obviously, if they don't have access, they're just not going to see it. It's pretty, to be honest, I mean, even though it's the premium one, it's a little boring. I mean, if you compare that to like ClickMinded or some of these other ones, like doing that ClickMinded course on the Use Fedora platform. If you go back and watch that other video where I went through the Use Fedora platform, I'd say it looks a lot better than this. So I'm not going to say I'm disappointed with this. I do like the way the text looks. It's very simple, but it's not mind-blowing. I mean, the theme doesn't look like a whole ton of work went into it. A couple other caveats I thought I'd mention about this theme is I've noticed WordPress SEO is complaining because it's somehow overwriting my meta description. So I haven't been able to quite figure out yet where that's even being done inside the theme. There's not really a whole lot of settings with this theme. If you go in and look at customize, I'm going to go there now. This isn't like your high-end like Theme Forest theme or some of these other ones. It's super bland. I mean, literally you just have logo, change the logo, layout, change some of the layouts of the pages, and it's all like very generic stuff. There's some pretty basic theme options. I was looking around, digging everywhere to figure out where that landing page template was, and I couldn't find it anywhere. I actually had to email support, and I believe what I ended up figuring out was, let me see if I can go to it really quick. if you're in a page, you can go on the right sidebar and there's like a template that you can edit. And the template is literally just like header text something. Like it was the most basic landing page you could possibly imagine, and I don't think you could edit it much at all. In terms of like the design, it's not like a drag and drop thing where you can go and like do all this crazy stuff. So what I ended up doing was I set up, I installed what's called the Thrive Themes landing page editor, and that's how I basically put in this pre-built landing page, which is all drag and drop. They come with pre-built full landing pages. Another option you could do would be to like use something like Lead Pages and just build out this full sales page with it. But you're not going to get much out of this built-in landing page template. It's pretty much garbage. It's not even like made for a sales page. It's almost more like an opt-in page. If you're trying to get people to like watch a little video and then opt in, I don't even think you can make like a sales button on it. But so I was pretty disappointed with that being like a bonus, and these bonuses really weren't all that much. So I mean, basically I paid the extra $100 to get the theme. Let's see what else. The other thing I really wanted to mention too is there's absolutely no support for affiliates. I can't actually do any affiliate marketing with this platform. I mean, that's such a big problem right now. I mean, if you think about it, most people out there in the internet marketing world, they're launching these products, doing these huge, joint venture launches, and getting all these other people to come out and promote their courses on their behalf. Now, what I could do is use the workaround I mentioned earlier, where I take JVZoo, put up a JVZoo buy button on a landing page with Thrive themes or lead pages, and then I could actually do affiliates that way and send them to that JVZoo page. But then again, I've opened up my my landing page. One thing I will mention though, let me see if I can find it. If I go back to the dashboard, I'll show you how you set up the actual payment pages. If I go to Zippy Courses, I'm trying to remember exactly where it is. I think it's under settings. These are also all the generic pages that the program creates for you, like registration, account, reset password, thank you, blah, blah, blah. I'm trying to remember exactly where that was, but I think that's so these are like registration emails and generic emails you get. Create lesson, blah, blah, blah. Maybe it's in the edit here. Sell your course, I think it's in here. Yeah. So they do offer like the one-time payment and the monthly payments, and you could even do like a free page. So technically I could use something like JVZoo and then redirect them to this page. If I go open this in another window, there's really not a whole lot to it. I don't even, maybe it's not working right now. Oh, you know what? I think I've got it disabled. No, it's enabled. So maybe this isn't, I haven't really played around with it a whole lot, but I was trying to set up like different ones so you could buy. Okay, so here's a good example. This is what the buy button and page look like. There's really nothing here. You can do, I've just got this little thing, product, monthly payments, price, $55 per 4 months. Another thing on this note was, if you go back, I think it said it in the documentation, but if you want to do a payment plan and you're using PayPal, it said that you couldn't do anything that's more than 4 months. So that kind of really sucks. Like if I wanted to have people do 6 months, I could use JVZoo and do that, which integrates into PayPal, and I know that wouldn't be a problem. I've definitely done that before. So I don't know what's up with that and that integration particularly, but it's saying that might be it sounded like a PayPal limitation, but definitely something I picked up on. Super bland page here though. I mean, this is like the buy button. I just thought it was a little awkward. So it's almost like I'm going to have to have a landing page and then send them to this page, and then they're going to have to click buy now, which then they'll go, and I think literally hitting that just takes them into PayPal. So I haven't set up PayPal, so that that's what it would, that's essentially what it would do. And then at that point, once they pay, I assume they get access to the actual course. So I don't want people being able to get to a page like this and then just saying register, and then they're just full on into the course. Granted, I could see all the students and sit there and like compare like people who've entered the course that have actually paid, but it would be such a pain in the ass to manage. Like if literally I walked away for a day and it went and got shared on one of these forums, it would just be spread all over the place so fast that it would take me hours and hours probably to clean up the mess and figure out who's actually bought the course versus who actually hasn't and got in for free, because of the fact that I decided to open up my payments. And then this would also skew my reporting that's back in here. You've got you can see like the analytics, and it tells you the who's actually paid. So I would have nothing in here for my like value per order, nothing to track. I'd have to look at like JVZoo to do that. So hopefully this was helpful. Overall, I don't think this is a terrible plugin. I just feel like it's lacking a lot of things that are kind of like standard for today. I know there's some other newer memberships plugins coming out and things like that, and I've heard some of them are getting slammed pretty hard too. So for right now, if you're really looking to go the self-hosted route, I don't think this is a terrible idea, but it's definitely lacking for affiliate support. And if you're launching a product with a co-partner with someone else, you're really going to have a tough time unless you want to sit there and do manual payouts to the other partner. You'd have to also trust someone else, and that, in my opinion, is a big deal. I actually did a partnership with someone, and all of the payments went to me, but we had it split automatically through JVZoo. So, you know, if $10,000 came in over the next span of several months, I knew that he would be getting paid, and it wasn't like I could go take all the money for myself and he'd have to like come sue me or something. It was all said and done. So essentially, if I'm going to be launching this course, I know the guy I'm launching it with, he's going to want the payments coming into his account. So now I've got to put a huge trust burden on him to know that he's actually going to pay me, which I'm hoping isn't going to be a problem, but it's just something to consider when going with this platform. All right, thanks for watching.